What is up, everybody? D-Man back. That's a new intro. Let's try that again. What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we are going to be continuing our adventures at Anime Matsuri 2023. It is time to open the convention and have the fans flood the Godzilla store. This is so much fun, man. I cannot wait to share this with you guys. So to recap the last vlog a little bit, which if you haven't seen it, you should go check it out. It's where we discussed the first customers at America's third Godzilla store, and the first of which was me. But to recap that last vlog, we woke up super early, went down to the convention hall. That'll be important in a later vlog, but we woke up really early. Headed down to the convention hall, got to see them finishing setting up, then the Super Pass opened up, the first wave of fans flooded the Godzilla store, and it was a really wonderful time. So now it's time to jump back into things, and let's find out what Kyle was up to. Well, Dalton and I were filming the Godzilla store. I was checking out all the fans checking the store out. Dalton was filming the actual unboxing of the Godzilla statue. Kyle went to the opening ceremonies and saw the huge, enormous crowd that had grown there, along with all of the guests on stage. It was an enormous production this year. The crowd was literally bigger than I have ever seen it for the opening ceremonies, and the guests were huge. I think they said they had like 100 guests this year, which is crazy, but it was awesome. It was an awesome opening ceremony, this enormous crowd, this great energy, including Mr. Shinji Nishikawa, who they shouted out during their opening ceremony. They also had guest speakers come out who were so full of enthusiasm and passion. The mayor was there. The mayor of Houston was there. He actually presented Anime Matsuri with an award. He showed up in full cosplay, which is also super fun. He did every year. And the consulate general of Houston for Japan showed up dressed as Kamen Rider. Hell yeah, man. He was hyped about Shin Kamen Rider. We love to see some Kamen Rider love. That show's great. It's very strange, but I'm into it. This was the mayor's last appearance at Anime Matsuri as mayor. His terms are ending. They presented him with a gift as a result, and he presented them with a gift representing how much Anime Matsuri does for the city. And with that, they opened the convention hall to the public. It was time. As the exhibition hall was opened up, everybody flooded in. Again, huge shout out to Dalton and Kyle for the footage of everybody flooding in. It's awesome. I was at the Godzilla store at this time, and within an instant, this became the most popular Anime Matsuri I have ever been to. The first rush of people was humongous, man. Suddenly, the Godzilla store was flooded with fans arriving to get their hands on that wonderful, juicy merch. Like this stuff. Have I mentioned that I reviewed these guys on the channel yet? If I haven't, and I have, you should go check out my reviews for them. Everybody was there for the merchandise, and also, Shinji Nishikawa finally arrived, and I finally got to meet him. I had a little bit of an introduction with him here, and he was so wonderfully kind. He is so nice. I really appreciated how kind he was and how nice he was, as was Akiko Sato, who I want to give a special shout out to. She is just so wonderful. She was his translator and assistant for the weekend, and she was so helpful. She was so nice to me. She was so helpful. Her translating for the two of us was so nice. It made things so much easier to communicate between us, and not only that, she was just so freaking friendly. She was really kind. Her and I have kept in touch a little bit, like very rarely, but a little bit since last Anime Matsuri, and she's just such a nice person. She was telling me all about her relationship to Godzilla, how she has friends who have really deep connections to Godzilla that go way back, how in Japan she has friends who live there that have special connections to Godzilla, and she was really excited about my upcoming trip to Japan, so she was just so awesome. So I want to give a special shout out to her for being so awesome. Nishikawa-san was also excited about my trip to Japan, which was cool because when I went to Japan, I actually got to re-meet up with him. The first thing I did was slip Nishikawa my questions for the upcoming panel, which was going to be held in a couple hours, just to see what he thought of them. He checked them all off. He actually approved, I think, like every single one, maybe minus one or two. Oh, that's perfect. I'm gonna claim he minused one. I don't actually think he did. I think he approved them all, but you know, to be thematically relevant. He and I were hosting that panel. That'll be the next adventure I post, so look forward to that. That was a good one. I liked that one a lot. It was maybe the most fun I've ever had hosting a panel. And then he took a bunch of pictures with Godzilla, with the fans. I got to take the pictures of him with Godzilla, and then he and I took some pictures. So it was a lot going on. Mr. Nishikawa became an instant fan favorite as people rushed to get autographs of his artwork, which they had a lot of his art on sale. That was so cool. While all the fans were flooding the Godzilla store, by the way, now it's time to roll another montage of fans flooding the Godzilla store because, oh my gosh, it was such a huge rush.
2 years ago, we had
everybody was flooding in and there was all this chaos going on, there was one fan in particular who stood out amongst the crowd, and that was someone running around dressed as an inflatable Godzilla. He was in the inflatable Godzilla costume, and he was having the time of his life. This guy is awesome, and we will hear more about him later. Then my man Edgar showed up, arrived dressed as Spider-Man. Hell yeah. I met him in 2021, and I met him again here now. I also met Angel, who saved his little brother from missing a figure. I met David, and I met Andrew, and we took a picture together. I then met Kevin, who talked to me about Godzilla games, and then I met Tyler, who draws Godzilla and was actually hard at work at the Godzilla store making this awesome art. And I got to sit down, asked if I could film him as he drew. He said yes, so I got to film him drawing, and then I got to talk to him a little bit. Steven then came over and said hello. This was actually my second time meeting Steven. I met him in 2019 at the Godzilla King of the Monsters panel. And that's another awesome part about going to Anime Matsuri all these years, year after year, is that I get to see some people return year after year, which is so freaking cool. I love that, and it's so exciting. I was kind of getting ready to decide to head out here to get lunch before the panel, and before I did, I met Alex and his mother Meredith. Alex is the legend himself inside the Godzilla suit, and he was so amazing. He was just this wonderfully energetic and excited kid, and he was so fun to hang out with. I loved his enthusiasm and excitement. It was just great. It was actually here where I got to spend a little bit more time with Mr. Nishikawa himself, and I got to get a glimpse of how lively and passionate and friendly he was as well. He signed a bunch of autographs. He even did this little Hedera sketch for a fan. That's awesome, man. That was so cool. And his line was growing so rapidly that it was actually catching up to the size of the Godzilla Store's merch line. I could not believe it, but man, 2 full lines stretching outside of the Godzilla Store full of people. It was so cool. This was by far the most packed I have ever seen the Godzilla Store. But I was not about to make the same mistake that I made in 2021. So rather than sticking around to find out how popular Mr. Nishikawa got, it was time to bounce because I needed some lunch. I was hungry.
He is a Za Goblin.
So we got some pizza, and it was alright. We then walked around the convention hall one last time before heading up to the panel rooms. Along the way, we saw the karaoke being held right under the Godzilla banners, which is a cool setting for anything, and then headed up to the 3rd floor where the panel would be held. It was here where I got the overview of the karaoke booth. Speaking of karaoke, as we end our journey here right before my panel with Mr. Shinji Nishikawa talking all about Toho's Godzilla, I want to share this clip I found on Alex's Instagram. That's right, Alex has an Instagram. It's called Fun Adventures with Alex. You should definitely go check him out. See what he's up to. He is such a great kid and he deserves the support. And he got up on stage braver than I could ever be and sang Blue Oyster Cult's Godzilla.
Oh, no. They say he's got to go, Godzilla.
That's what we're talking about. Big shout out Alex for doing that. I tried to convince my friends to do karaoke with me. They wouldn't do it, and I was too afraid to do it alone. Never wound up doing it. And that's actually where we're gonna leave it off. As always, I want to give a huge thank you to Anime Matsuri for bringing me out. It's because of Anime Matsuri bringing me out that I was able to get this footage for you and to share it with you guys. Speaking of Anime Matsuri 2024 is right around the corner, so go check it out. I'll be there, Godzilla will be there. It will be an awesome time. Look forward to that. As always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. It's because of the support of the patrons that I'm able to make videos just period in general in the first place, and I really appreciate the support I get over there. If you want to support me through the Patreon, you can using the link in the description below where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man out.